People, what is going on? How are you guys doing this evening? Rich Latta here from Social Suplex, and we are going to be doing a little hangout here post WrestleDream, and we are going to be having a good time here this evening. And I love it. Love the show that we just watched, and we're going to talk about it here as we get these links shared and all that. Need you guys to make sure you bang that like button. Make sure you are sharing the live stream here, supporting the stream as well, taking super chats, taking your comments, reading those off. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to drop the link in a little bit. I'm going to let you guys step up to the mic. You guys want to ask questions. You guys want to talk to me, talk about the show we just watched, anything that you guys want to, got hot takes or anything about the show, we will discuss. And sending this out real quick. And I am pulling up my comments on the other side just to be sure. Okay, appreciate you guys. I see you got some people gathering in, so we're just going to give people a few minutes to get locked in with us. So, AEW WrestleDream tonight was in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri is a building in AEW with pay-per-view history. Of course, Dynasty 2024 took place there, where Swerve actually defeated Samoa Joe to win the championship. So Samoa Joe being in a title match again. But just overall, man, what a hell of a show up and down. The wrestling tonight was kind of off the charts. I know going into the show, there was a little bit of hesitancy, I would say, just due to the fact there wasn't a ton of fresh matchups on the paper. There wasn't a bunch of those. Well, looks like, hold on, got a comment here. I'm too tired to say. Kev Bones, appreciate the donation. I'm too tired to stay, but I just want to say I love O&R and it makes your Fridays even better. Appreciate you, Kev Bones. But I think the wrestling just came through in a whole bunch of high profile spots. You had tag team wrestling well represented tonight with both the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express, and then the Brodito and Okada and Takeshita match, and just it felt like they were kind of in a silent competition with each other, and it was just like it was incredible, really, like to see the level of work that went into each of those matches. Of course, the main event, just so jarring. I'm still thinking about it right now. They literally tried to drown the man. I was wondering where the National Guard was. I wanted to know where the Army was. I wanted to know where the goddamn frat house was. I wanted anybody to run out there. I wanted Nelly and the Saint Lunatics. Yes. Murphy Lee, come on down. Ali, where are you at? Nelly, take the credit card out of the woman's behind in the tip throw video. Come out. Yes, the dude with the mask, slow down. Bring him out too. And it was just, it felt like really watching Darby like climb this mountain. They showed the graphic before he went in for the match, and it was they said he's 0-5 lifetime against Jon Moxley. And leading up to it, I felt like they kind of got away from that. Like I felt like it was I felt like the entire feud had kind of delved into a stunt show rather than telling the story of it, of Darby actually surpassing Moxley. Let's see. Got Rambone Slam Big. Appreciate the $5. It says, can we acknowledge that AEW is a tag team territory? Absolutely, man. I think like you gotta go a long way to find a better night than tag team for tag team wrestling than this. You could watch the entire World Tag League. You could add up several matches, like, and not get the amount of stars that these two matches are going to get here. I thought that, when you think about tag team wrestling in AEW, it's usually just the Young Bucks, it's FTR, it's the Lucha Brothers historically, Kenny and Hangman, Swerve and Our Glory. You got other teams like the Acclaimed have come through, Jurassic Express from the early days, Proud and Powerful in the early days, and now you got Brodito, who's just an incredible team. You got when Will Ospreay and Swerve team up, just these one-off super teams that are amazing. It feels like tag team wrestling in America has never really been valued, and at times AEW has kind of slipped in that regard. But they always do a good job getting it back to and it kind of coincides with the Young Bucks being around. Like if they're not around, then we might have to deal with like the Gun Club or something like that. Those guys try hard and everything. Don't want to bang on them too much, but I think that it really like fires back around, and it's really noticeable when the tag division is not good. Like for example, like when the Hurt Business had their hands on those belts earlier this year, it just didn't. It felt like a hole in the lineup. Essentially, teams like Jet Speed are awesome, and I think that having a strong tag division is a great safe haven for singles wrestlers. I think is great, obviously for your tag teams, and then like you can always just pull out an incredible match like this whenever you want, and you can put these guys all know how to do this, so it's really cool. But we're doing something a little different, trying something new, trying to get the YouTube page going and more engaged with and everything. I'm gonna drop the link for people to come holla at me, ask your questions, and if you got any hot takes about the show and all that. But I am pulling up a show lineup right now. Give me one moment. We're gonna start going kind of through the show here, and when I'm done with that, I will drop the link. But make sure you're hitting that like button for me, running it up. So let's see what we got here. And yeah. All right. So I guess I'll start with the top match. Looks like cage match. They're still working this out right now. So we start with that I Quit match. Darby Allin defeats Jon Moxley, just over 25 minutes. And that thing just like felt like the culmination of a year storyline. I saw someone compare it to Starrcade 97 and saying Tony Khan did a much better version of it than that. I don't know if I'll go that far. It really wouldn't be hard to do a better version of Starrcade 97, but I thought this was just its own thing. It was very unique. Jon Moxley felt like a real killer, much improved ever since he lost the championship. I don't know what's gotten into the guy, but the Death Riders are a terroristic force. There's no way to really go around this at this point. Marina Shafir is a demon straight out of hell. Claudio Castagnoli is the devil himself. And Jon Moxley just seems to be the one that just executes the work and the game plan. And, there are little munchkins like Willer Yuta and Daniel Garcia hanging around. But Darby overcame them all. And it seems like I think when Darby goes too hard and pushes the limits way too hard, it's like, he's in this impossible no-win situation. It's okay for Grandpa Sting to drop out and be like, hey, man, you've gone a little bit too far. So I need to come in and grab you. And it's a little bit like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Bronx Tale. It's like when Sonny just appears and pulls Kalojira out of that car that's about to, explode because of those Molotov cocktails. He's like this guardian angel, essentially. If you look at it from that kind of perspective, I think that's a really cool way to think about Sting in relation to Darby now. It feels like the biggest win of Darby's like career, possibly. He's had a lot of big wins, but he was always chasing Moxley. It felt like he really kind of ascended, and him carrying an AEW flag, I think, is going to be in a lot of video packages pretty much until the promotion is no more at this point. Like it feels like this is just that's a really special moment. I think Tony Khan will be pretty happy seeing that. So that's going to be in an entire thing, I would imagine. So let's see what we got here. In our semi-main event, we had Hangman Page defeated Samoa Joe in a rough, tough, real man hitting kind of match. That kind of, got I felt like this is a two-part thing. We got whatever the match was, and then we got the angle after it. Let's start with the match itself. I thought this was a match that it was like, all right, man, we don't have Samoa Joe in his prime anymore, right? But Hangman Page was going to do everything in tribute to like what his prime kind of would have been, like if he was in there with Hangman. It was like, we're going to bring you as close to that as possible. So much hidden, and of course, they had the one blown moonsault spot. A lot of people are probably going to clip that and talk about it. Hangman Page is on the hit list of a few people right now. I don't know why, but this is another successful pay-per-view title match for him. I feel like big win, nice and clean. And it feels like he's locking in and hitting his groove, especially on pay-per-view. And he actually kind of has something to sink his teeth into now over multiple cycles, with the Joe thing continuing as they're celebrating Samoa Joe, and it feels like a really nice moment. It feels like the crowd's, kind of showing Samoa Joe love. Joe had been doing the press rounds this week, and all of a sudden they just was like, nah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you where you stand. And the ops never lacking, as they say, beat on Hangman Page, and presumably, they'll be taking that to full gear. So we'll probably see matches with Powerhouse Hobbs. We'll probably see Katsuyori Shibata in there with Hangman Page. And at this point, you got to kind of wonder, is anybody going to come help Adam Page? It was funny because when I was watching, I was like, man, ain't nobody coming out there. And Kenny Omega had already used his one run-in up when he came out there to save Jack Perry. So, I was like, well, what's going on here? So I like the move for the turn for the ops. The ops have been sitting on those belts as baby faces, kind of not really doing much with them, and just kind of being these tough guys that everybody think is cool, but don't really do much. Like, they don't really have much of a point. Now this kind of gives them a point. They can snarl. Katsuyori Shibata can use, the translation, or just flat out refuse to speak English. And then Hobbs can just sneer, and Joe can just be, menacing Samoa Joe, and you kind of give him a little bit more to sink his teeth on, because he's great when you give him something to talk about. I think that I think it'll be fun, and a quality addition, whatever it is, going forward. So, World Tag Team title match now. Brother, first, this is a 5-star match, man. I don't care what anyone says. I don't know what it'll be whenever the Observer drops or anything like that. This match, going into it, almost ended exactly as I predicted. Same finish ended up happening, but they did repeat that spot. I said, from the TV match where Okada tags in, Takesha's like, what the fuck? And then, Okada essentially gets himself isolated. Bandito had been taking a lot of pins of late leading up to this thing. And it really felt like the only real logical finish to me would be pinning Okada with Bandito, especially, right after the pin this week, of Bandito from Okada. It felt like they were just going to reverse that to pay-per-view. With Takesha being the IWGP champion, I know that's an interesting subject of conversation. He came out there first. I just had the question, is the IWGP championship as Don Callis' birthday present? That is the best use of the IWGP championship since when? It's my question for you. So, but yeah, this match was out of this world, man. Brody King, I felt like, has established himself as somebody like you see guys getting these tag teams, these mashup tag teams, and it's like, all right, man, there's a history of this in this company. You had Kenny and Hangman, you had Swerve and Keith Lee, you have Brodito here, and Brodito is just showing Bandito is a Wrestler of the Year candidate himself, right? But Brody King is slowly climbing to where it's like fans, I think, are getting behind him. And he's got the credibility to go in there with anyone. I don't know if he'll ever get pushed as the man or anything, but like at some point you can do something with this guy. I think he is really opening a lot of eyes this year. And they're like this perfect big, small tag team. And I think their relationship, to the point where Brody King did the Macarena tonight. And it's really like, I think humanize him. He's not just the big guy with the tattoos that wore the Abolish ICE shirt, also defund ICE. He kind of has like this personality, and then there's a wholesomeness with their friendship that I think people are really buying into, especially with Bandito. Bandito brought in little Bandito with him, and it's like, yo, I never want Brody King to turn on Bandito. I never want it to happen at this point. I don't know if it's just me being a sucker for friendship, but I think they got a really cool thing going right now, and it was not the time to break them up. You could have put the belts on Okada and Takeshita and went further into their story, but they had enough kind of miscommunication amongst themselves to really tell that story anyway, so it didn't really matter. I think they got the job done, and then the wrestling was just fucking incredible, like just for days. Just run this up, throw the stars out, and it's crazy, man. Yeah, they're saying in the comments they want Brody to go back with Buddy Matthews. I do not. I don't think Buddy Matthews has the heart anymore to really do. His heart's not in it right now. Yeah, like it's another question. Would you rather have Bandito or any three New Japan wrestlers of your choosing on your roster? Look, Bandito, I believe, is only 29 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm keeping Bandito. Personally, knowing what I would do with him, I'm like, we're gonna have the best luchador of his generation, presumably. You're gonna have an incredible mask, like a unique mask, like a mask so potentially incredible as far as like a sales tool. Like I could see everyone knows what Rey Mysterio's mask looks like. You could stick a Bandito mask right next to it, and it's unique enough to stand out on its own and be something cool that someone would want to wear. Now, the merchandising at AEW has never been the greatest, but he would give me the incentive to make it great. As far as his wrestling ability goes, he's out of this world. I think I will take him over any three. Having the argument of taking a Gabe Kidd, taking a Yoda Tsuji, taking a Shingo Takagi, those three, and doing something with them. Yeah, like that would be cool. But me, I think focusing on one guy might be easier. So especially what they're doing with Bandito now, he's really kind of breaking out and getting the push that I don't think Ray Phoenix ever was going to get. There's just a different kind of physical charisma with Bandito that he has. That one arm 21 plex was tough as hell, and it just felt like another step forward for him. And he needs to be the first, luchador to win the AEW championship one day. I don't give a fuck. Like, it has to happen. Let's see what we got here. Chris Statlander versus nope, my fault. Mercedes Moné and Mina Shirakawa. I thought this was pretty good. I didn't think this was out of this world or anything, but I thought that Mina showed obviously she can go. You give her just the opportunities to show her creativity, and she does it. Mercedes Moné wins her 11th belt. I love everything about it. Mercedes to me is just the best. The way she structures her matches, the panache and the style that she brings to the game. You see her in the Selena gear that she came out in at Arena Mexico. She rocked it 2 nights in a row. And she came out to Beady Beady Bum Bum in Mexico, which is the women's equivalent of Floyd Mayweather showing up in those sombreros when he would fight the Mexican guys. I just thought it was great. I thought this was, it was funny to get her to 11. They're giving her the ROH Women's Interim World Television title. I don't know, man. Whatever. Just get her over the number. I don't care. I think it's cool, and it drives all the worst people insane that that just can't stand the fact this woman is free, for one, from WWE, kind of taking control of her career in a way to where she's working for other promotions. She's working with people that she wants to work with. And the funniest thing I saw is a comment from someone who was like, when is Mercedes going to lose and start putting people over? And my simple response to that was July 12th, 2025. I need you guys to check your calendars. That already happened. So I think that we got to start recognizing Mercedes for what she is, which is the greatest women's wrestler to ever ever come out of North America. And at this point, you're fighting up the stream if you disagree. Um, so it's going to be, um, let's see. I'm gonna pull this next one. We got the women's world title match. We got Chris Statlander defeating Tony Storm. For me, this kind of felt like it's like, yeah, a procedural type of thing. Have to clear Tony's, out her claim out, but this feels like it was a definitive win to show you they're going with Statlander right now, even if Mercedes and Statlander are on a collision course, kind of for those belts. My mind immediately goes to Willow Nightingale because she's the one that kind of circles around both Statlander and Monet long term wise. Like, are they going to get who's going to get the big win? Where do you do a 3-way with them at some point and put all these belts on the fucking line and and give them all to Willow or something like that? I don't know, but I thought this match with Chris Statler and Tony Storm, the build for me left a little bit to be desired. I'll say like one thing I think the crowd might have struggled with who to really cheer because everyone loves Tony Storm and they like Chris Statlander a lot. And it's like, I don't want to necessarily choose a side here. So in my opinion, I think the performers needed to make it a little bit more clear. Like we needed to have somebody slap someone in the face, like, and be like, we're going to do it with the physicality. If we can't do it with, just if we can't, trust you guys to pick, we'll make you pick ourselves through the physicality. Statlander got the win, close it up just over 16 minutes right there. So let's see. Then we got TNT title match, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. They got 25 minutes. They got almost a feature-length match here, seemingly like close to the longest match on the show or third longest match on the show. And, I thought this was not their best match, but it was still really great at the same time. I think their best match was at Dynasty. And this one was just short of that, but Kyle Fletcher is just another solid, win to add to his ledger. I would have thought since it was the fifth one, you might give Mark Briscoe this just to be like, Briscoe's had a great year and this would be a big reward for him. And he's like kind of the perfect guy. If you were to take it off of Kyle Fletcher to give it to, where Briscoe has a ton of credibility, has like, it feels like he's due a big win and you can lose to him, whatever, and then he can drop it to somebody that you want to elevate, essentially. Kind of like what they used to do with Razor Ramon, in the 90s with the Intercontinental title. It's like, yeah, you can drop it back to him. He can give it off, different stuff like that. So thought it was a good match. Let's move on. Trios match with the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand. This was loud and the crowd was into this. And at the end of the day, I was like, Ricochet should get a raise for everything that has happened the last month and a half or 2 months with Hurt Syndicate. Kind of got handed these guys at a very low point for the Hurt Syndicate, dodging the jobs left and right, mysteriously not being around any pinfalls. And they did their fair share of crap during this feud. But, this is hard hitting. This is energetic. And at the end, Bishop Khan ended up getting pinned. So the Hurt Syndicate are going to win this feud, presumably, and then go into a match with the Ops. What happens to Ricochet from here? Because that's my big question. What did Ricochet get out of any of this? He got to pin the manager once. So I guess that's it. So, yeah, so let's keep going. So people had told me Jack Perry is a waste of time. He should go. He should be out of this company. It is. What are we still putting, this person on TV before? It's a new era, 2019. He's a relic of the past. He's reached his potential. What is Tony Khan doing? Well, I'm here to tell you, I never sold my Jack Perry stock. And I've got the audio to prove it. Jack Perry on pay-per-view. In there with the Young Bucks and Luchasaurus. A throwback. We are jacking it tonight. Jacking off. Clip that. Um, but yeah, man, this was another one straight out of Reseda, straight out of the lore and the classics of the past in AEW that they've had, and a great way to presumably move the Young Bucks closer to turning face with the post match, and just quite frankly show what these guys can do. And there are a lot of people that have not got to see what Jack Perry can do the last couple years because he's missed a ton of time, whether it was injury, whether it was just happened to be out of action. And Luchasaurus had a real life health scare, so it was like a return to form for those guys as well. Love the match, and I'm sure some of you guys will want to talk about it when I drop the link down, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to drop the link down, and if you want to come on, try to make sure you have decent lighting and all right sounding microphone. And if you got any questions or you got any hot takes you want to fire off, I'm going to drop that. If you follow that link, you can join the show as well, and we can talk a little bit and hang out. I didn't want to do like a full review or anything, but we're just here kicking it. And the Jurassic Express got that 500 thou, and that match was out of this world, sensational, man. And people are going to try to, lie. We know what they do with the lies when it comes to the Young Bucks. They quite frankly just this match made me feel so good. No, we were off to the races with this. So let's see what we got here. And then we had Jamie Hayter and Tekla. Nice hard hitting match to begin the show, and it felt like a match that I had seen before, even though I never really watched it before because I can't recall these two ever having a match. But they both come from Stardom, and it feels like just this hard hitting kind of match. I thought it was really solid to begin the show. And let me see what we got here. Yazora Hart, appreciate the donation. In another world, that main event was for the world title, and I love Hangman Page. I love All In, but man, I would have been moved all timer. I quit. Yeah, I mentioned on One Nation Radio this week where the presumed path for everything was Will Ospreay going to All In, losing, Darby returning, and then presumably this could have been for the world title. And like the way they set this all up, like it felt like it could have had the belt online. And we're talking about Darby Allin as the new champion tonight. I would not change that for what we got, just because I think we actually got a lot of great things in the outset. But the way it feels, I can't deny it. How it feels, and so make sure anybody else want to come jump up here and join the show. The link is below. Make sure if you got any questions or anything, pull up, and we will talk it out. So let's see what we got. Tekla's probably the next world title challenger after Mercedes. Tungsten Arm says, my man Sting pulled up like Santa at the start of every December. I heard Mariah Carey. New Japan couldn't book shit out of a butt at this point. Wow. Yeah, we still don't know who Hiroshi Tanahashi's wrestling at this point, and there's a lot of Shinsuke Nakamura teases. I have not worked out my thoughts on that at the moment, because more WWE interloping and interference with things, it never ends well. So there are people that are perfectly fine with this. I am not perfectly fine with this. I still have complicated feelings on that. But Ghostface says, off AW topic for a moment, but could Cody versus Drew end up being at Hell in a Cell at this point? Or do you think we could get Hell in a Cell where we finally get Cody versus Randy fuse? So Ghostface, I don't really watch WWE, so I might not be the best person to ask there, but if they're doing non-finishes, which I think I heard about recently, they're doing a bunch of non-finishes, and they are kind of leaning towards I don't know their pay-per-view schedule, because don't they have War Games coming? So like, I don't know if they're going to do a Hell in a Cell that close to War Games. I feel like I could see them doing Cody and Randy like maybe at WrestleMania or something, unless they do like Cody and Punk. But I honestly really couldn't tell you too much about WWE. I don't watch it. I don't really enjoy it either. So, um, whatever it is, I hope people that watch it enjoy it. So, um, Anarika says if it's Nakamura, then Takeshi better keep that belt. James says ask their AI booker. That's funny. That's a funny story that popped up. Um, so will Takesha actually do anything else in New Japan between now and the Dome, or is he really not doing them tours? Um, you know, look, I think the times that they ask for Takesha, they'll probably get him. But what did they? I think they have like Power Struggle in November, and they also have World Tag League Tour. So you can get around not being on that World Tag League Tour. I think I have a guess. I've got my man Daniel. I'll bring him in just a second. And hold on right here. Daniel, what's going on, man?
Yo, 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 Rich, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm good, brother. How about you?
Well, so WrestleDream. I think this was the best pay per view AEW has done since All In. I think I can start saying that. Um, and I'm happy because I think AEW needed this night for the tag team division. Box Jurassic Express. I have Box and Jurassic Express and Brodido versus Takeshi Tanokada's the best matches of the night,
Yeah,
which speaks about the quality that tag team wrestling brought in this show. Also, I think FTR versus Jet Speed.
yeah.
At the beginning,
Really solid
it
opener.
it was also fantastic. So I'm happy because of that. The build could have been better. I think that's quite the story of AEW at least this year.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Uh, Pay-per-views are always all timers or close to be, and but the build is always underwhelming. I think everyone in the fan base can agree on that. But Full Gear already looks promising. Mercedes already challenged Chris Statlander for the title. I
What'd you think about the Selena get up?
Man, I wake up. I woke up today because I couldn't watch the CMLL show last night. I
uh,
couldn't. Yes, but I wake up and I see Mercedes Monet with Selena Gear, and I say, "Oh, Beast
yes.
Mortos is a lucky son of a bitch, man."
Bitty bitty bum bum indeed.
Very bonbon indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, and and Mercedes broke the record, sort of speak, of the Ultimo Dragon record tonight.
Yep.
It was a good match, and she's probably getting the 12th one tomorrow. She has an indie show in Winnipeg, if I recall correctly. So
Isn't she
more fans
facing
are.
like maybe Jody Threat or something?
Yeah, I
Or
think so. I think
okay.
so. By the way, I think this was also this indie that defended Mercedes' drawing power in comments, because Mercedes always brought attention for the worst people possible.
Right. Right.
So, so she's smashing the record at this point. She's getting the 12. I don't know if it's the right call to do 13, and I mean the AEW Women's World Title. I had strong opinions when they did Tony Storm versus Monet at All In.
Mhm.
I said at the time it was a mistake to belt Mercedes, because I don't think doing TBS and world title at the same time with the same person, it's not a good booking call. That's only the reason why I think that. I have zero issues with Mercedes winning or something like that. I just think you are booking yourself into a corner.
I think they might be going the way of uh Mercedes can win all these other belts, but there's one that eludes her. And
Yes.
it looks like she's due to give one back to Statlander. So like my early kind of feel on it is that Statlander is going to beat her at Full Gear, and then Mercedes is like she has to rebuild from there because no matter how many belts that she wins everywhere else, she can't seem to get this one. You can still have Will Nightingale still chasing Chris for the long haul, but you're getting Mercedes kind of out the way and basically on a long walk back to the belt at that point. Once you start ending her other reigns, it felt like
Yes. Also, um, I think it was also this great circle that AEW can book into. Like Chris Statlander has faced Mercedes Monet twice for the TBS title, and she couldn't beat her. So
right,
it's like a circle at this point. Chris Statlander can beat Tony Storm. Tony Storm can beat Mercedes Monet, and Mercedes Monet can beat Chris Statlander.
right.
So if the plan for Full Gear is to Chris to beat Mercedes, I think it's the right call. I think you are pushing Chris Statlander to the moon, which you are letting her beat the two biggest women stars you have in the division. Um, and it's a great call, also. But and you know what you said. You brought Mercedes. You are solidifying the idea that Mercedes can win all the titles in the world, but she can win this one.
Right.
So you that also opens a lot of booking patterns. You brought up a future baby face Mercedes turn, like she maybe starts a downfall. The moment that she lost again the world championship match. That's the moment the downfall can start. There's also rumors that she can work Wrestle Kingdom, with Saya now in the card. That's a no,
That'd be a huge match.
that will be. I think I said it. I don't know where, but I said it when we were discussing this. I said Saya versus Mercedes right now could be the biggest women's match in all of pro wrestling right now. I think those two, especially the Brits don't get it. Yes, the Brits don't get it. Uh, that's why we're doing this match in Tokyo. That's why we're doing this match in Tokyo. Uh,
Beyond that, I mean, the fans that are unhappy about Mercedes having all the belts she has now, if she got the red,
Oh man, we look. It's too
oh,
nasty.
bro.
It's too nasty.
Oh, bro.
Juan, welcome to the show.
thank you.
Juan, hi, hi.
So, Juan, what was your favorite match of the night?
Favorite match of the night, easily the tag team title match. I mean,
Yes.
to give you an idea of how great that match was, if anyone's listening to this that didn't happen to catch it, Bucks versus Jurassic Express was a vintage AEW tag classic. All the stuff you love from all the greatest tag team matches in AEW history. And it was by some distance the second best tag team match of the night. Like, that, oh my God. I mean, it was good before Okada started giving a shit. And then we got to the part of the night where Okada goes, oh, right, I'm supposed to care and start actually trying. And then it went from great to just phenomenal the whole time. I mean, people have been saying, oh, Okada's not really trying. He's just sort of using the AEW thing as a retirement run. It feels more like this is him finally moving on from being the God King of New Japan to now being what he was always meant to be, which is a comedy shitbag mid card heel.
you
Oh,
know,
man.
He's so good at it.
I,
He's
I,
so good.
I think there's an interesting point in that, like as far as like what people think Okada is doing in AEW or the lazy narrative or anything like that. Just because this guy's been through a lot of wars, got a lot of mileage and stuff like that, so it's like a natural inclination to be like, oh, he's taking a step back, maybe he's doing whatever. But I don't find Okada to really be that different in AEW right now than he was almost any time after 2021. This is the same
Okay.
guy. Like
Yeah.
I don't really see the huge difference. If anything, I think he's they had him being a heel most of the time, so he's got a little bit more free reign for his personality. But when he needs to tap into being Okada, like he did against Will Ospreay in the Continental Classic Finals, like he did, against Speedball Mike Bailey, Kenny Omega, like he did, and he's had matches where you're like, what the fuck, like the Mark Briscoe match, which
Yeah.
was a TV match, but on pay per view, this guy stepped up at this point.
Yes.
I don't think
Middle
it's
finger Macarena.
yeah, I don't think it's really a pertinent point anymore to try to say he's lazy or he's mailing it in. I think he's actually doing really solid work for what he's doing right now.
Beyond that, as far as the match goes, I mean, Bandito, I know you're very high on him, as am I, but I think I'm starting to get to the point, I already liked him. I'm starting to get to the point where I think you have to start mentioning him up near the Hangman Swerve Osprey tier. He's that good.
Yeah,
I think there's a strong
I,
argument he's the guy of the year.
I have him in the I have him in this tier of, I think it's going to be the next generation of Osprey, Swerve, Hangman. For me, it's Takeshita, Fletcher, and Bandido. These are the next three. The next three AEW should not miss.
yeah. I kind of consider Bandito as part of like a class like what Kyle Fletcher, like as far as like has he been given his big push yet? No. So like physically, he's as talented as anybody. He's came up amongst all the same guys. I saw an indie match with Will Ospreay and Bandito in 2019 at the Mark Hitchcock Memorial in New York City. I was 10 feet from the ring, and it was like 4 3/4, and I was like, "This guy is my fucking guy." Like Bandito that day, and it's like 6 years later now, and he's always had, I think, the ability to win people over with his physical talent, and he's just for someone that has a mask on is just incredibly charismatic. And a lot of his stuff, he can fly, he's strong, and he looks fucking cool. Like that's for me, that is real simple for me. So
I will say, is Don Callis married and did Bandito fuck his wife? Because Jesus Christ, that guy hates Bandito so much. He's been trying to kill him all year.
Yeah, I guess. The Don Callis family having so many members, you can do so much with them. You can do a Continental Classic of Don Callis members. You can do a single elimination tournament
Yeah, you
of
could.
of Don Callis members. Like there's just so many of them.
I mean, even if you're gonna have so let's see. He's wrestled Takeshita, Okada. He did the two Hechicero matches. Andrade just joined the group. I mean, there's the whole thing going on with him, but you could run that
I don't know
whenever
if we'll
you
see
want.
him.
So there's still like another 11 members of the Don Callis family he could still face, and so this could go on another year.
Easily.
Yeah. So, you guys have any questions about the show or any hot takes going forward? Kind of like what you're thinking of, like the temperature is on AEW.
So if this was, I think you were right about this sort of originally Osprey was probably the plan and not Hangman and moving into the Darby stuff. So if we're now through what was originally planned for the Darby Mox stuff, I do have to wonder when actually planned and thought out stuff for Hangman's going to start going down. Because I feel like the honeymoon period, if it hasn't already ended, it's going to for the Hangman title reign. And so it's going to be you're going to need more than just, all right, Hangman, give us a great match. Because he can do that, but people are going to want a little bit more.
Ask for more.
And I don't really see what the direction is for him next.
So I think his direction, like with the ops turning on him, is a good short term thing, because as of now, you've got a pretty good build that they had for the first match and a good title match, and then now you can get this thing with some more heat on it going forward. And you never know what that can turn into. It can turn into us really wanting to see Joe and Heyman in there. It can turn into Hobbs getting a television match or even a pay-per-view match if like it takes off in the right way. I know everyone wants to see Katsuyori Shibata challenge for a belt or something. So like you've probably got 3 matches right there. And I think that you are right about the honeymoon period possibly coming to an end. But I think MJF is still tucked into Hangman's thing whenever he comes back. We have trying to think who else. Yeah, I think it's
News
about time
point?
for that
Sorry.
stuff like to start. I think it's about time for that stuff to start clicking into. All right, what do we have for Hangman now? And if they didn't have stuff for Hangman, they should be quickly coming up. With that kind of stuff. They flipped the Hurt Syndicate. I always thought Lashley could do a Hangman match if you could convince Lashley to do business there.
That's the big if though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's also MJF with the contract.
Yep. And he has that for a reason. Like, and I don't know if it's, for him to win the belt again, but they definitely want to keep him hanging around. And it's like one thing they basically can, it's like a get out of jail free card, kind of like, oh, we need a challenger. We need something for this big show. I could easily see that being a Revolution match.
Oh, and I'll definitely want Daniel, I'd love your opinion on this. If they ever wanted to run Arena Mexico again in the next few months during this Hangman title reign, if they wanted to line up Atlantis Jr. versus Hangman Page in Arena Mexico, oh boy.
I think if they do that, Atlantis Junior is going. I think someone is gonna jump in.
Because from what I can tell, I mean, Mexico does not play about Hangman, so
I think generally, I think before the Arena Mexico show this year, Hangman was like, oh yeah, this guy is cool, But but after the show, after the promo, I started to feel like the Mexican wrestling fan, at least online, started to catch up with Hangman a little bit more. I saw more opinions about him. I see more people catching up with the matches. There were a lot of people happy when Hangman won the title in Texas. I think the promo. I think we saw it in the documentary. These dudes talking about the Spanish promo in Arena Mexico, how impactful it was for them, and I think a lot of people here in Mexico as well feel it the same way. I know I was in the crowd. That promo was very special. The mood immediately we felt the mood changing. Like, wait a minute, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to the
Yeah,
person
man.
in the comments talking about Ricochet, it really should be Ricochet being set up as the next major title challenger for Hangman.
Yeah, I'll show that comment there. Rambo Slam Pink says Ricochet title challenge win. That's why I kind of wondered, like, okay, well, they kept Ricochet out of the finish with the whole thing, and they flipped the ops and the Hurt Syndicate and the trios, which tells me it's like, do you guys just notice the Hurt Syndicate sliding down to the divisions? They're like singles, tags, trios. It's just like,
Trios.
You were
get the
joking about
fuck
Frat
out the
House
way.
earlier. That's who they're going to be wrestling in 6 months.
It's like, get the fuck out the way. But Ricochet, he's definitely somebody I would give us how to match to, because we know he can wrestle on the level. He's got henchmen that can be used in different forms of things. But I think the demand needs to kind of break out of the my first faction type. They feel very generic.
You
That's
even
just
have
that's
some
just my
setup
opinion.
for it, because back during the Swerve Ricochet program, in some of the promos that they were doing leading up to that, Ricochet invoked Hangman's name a lot to provoke Swerve. And so you could sort of set up some sort of reversal of that if you really wanted to.
Ricochet was just kind of finding himself. I believe James might have pointed this out on One Nation Radio earlier this week. So Ricochet was kind of finding himself when they threw the group thing on him. And I think the thing about the Ricochet character that is a undervalued kind of thing that you can do a lot with is, like, yes, there's the bald jokes. Yes, there's like the laughing at him part, but there's pain underneath that. And we saw that pain when he was walking around with the scissors, essentially like, I'll fucking stab you, or why do you like make fun of how I speak, or anything like that. And like that serious edge going up against Hangman, I think would be real compelling.
And we haven't really seen that in a while. I mean, when was the last time we saw any of that?
All right, it's been a lot of aha, like, and trust me, there's a time
Yes,
and place for that.
yes,
There's a time and place for that. I
yes.
think it's hilarious. I think it's like a lot of stuff like that. But he tapped into something during the Swerve feud. There's a promo. It's him and Nana alone. I believe it was in Arizona. Swerve wasn't on the show that week, and it was basically like, "You want your robe? Do something to me right now. Come get it back." Essentially,
I
oh,
know
you're
the
not
one you're
gonna
talking
do
about. Yeah.
anything. Like, I thought he really tapped into that thing that could like, oh, like he's not just do the flips Ricochet anymore. And I love do the flips Ricochet. I'm the flip guy. But like, as far as like competing on that main event level with these guys with a lot of depth to them, that's the level of depth that would solidify him as not just a challenger of the month. We're talking about somebody you could presumably strap up at some point.
I hate to say it, but uh, I think with with Ricochet, it's like I don't know who to blame. I mean, but the moment I think they saw the ball jokes and all of that, and they saw a more comedic attempt, they fell into a comfort zone in booking the guy. Like I said it all the time when, for example, in the Mexican fan base, that people were expecting Penta to get a real push in WWE, and I said to all these people, guys, the moment he started to do that funny walk, it was over because that's how WWE books. The moment they see you doing stuff like that, they are booking yourself only doing that. And I think Ricochet fell into that. They saw the ball jokes, they saw the comedic aspect of the character, and they are only booking that. They're not booking the pain, what you, Rich, are saying.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like, you see this sort of same thing with Fletcher. I mean, Fletcher shows ass sometimes. He's willing to make a fool of himself. So my theory is that what we are seeing with Ricochet is what would be happening with Kyle Fletcher if Kyle Fletcher got saddled with a Hurt Syndicate program for 5 months.
Hmm.
Which, thank God, that's not happening. But this is what happens when you sort of put someone in that uncomfortable position of basically, I mean, what Ricochet's having to do is essentially parent the problem kids. Or like
I
he's the gifted student who's paired with the three bad students in the group project.
it's
yeah.
it's 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 also the guy who is constantly great at his job, and the boss see it, and the gratification is, hey, here's more work, you know.
Yeah, man. Like when they got thrown into that thing, it felt like, oh, they found like he was a solution to a problem they had. Not necessarily, it wasn't set up for him, but like I think things like this will buy him real estate with Tony Khan. Like as far as like being somebody, like he had this problem clearly with the Hurt Syndicate, and this like either turned the heat down on the Hurt Syndicate a little bit, or it got him through a few months. It switched the belts off of him, solved this essentially a complicated situation. So like he remembers that kind of stuff. Like, and like just like thinking about it, like people that have solved problems in the past, like there was a big problem with good, like in 2023, you couldn't get good wrestlers in the ring with each other in AEW because no one wanted to fucking lose, right? So who
And
stepped
then
up?
Swerve Strickland said, yes, boss, I'll job to old ass Tanahashi on Collision.
Exactly. And he went on this run the whole summer of essentially getting himself hot in the singles while doing jobs, providing value. And what Ricochet did this summer was kind of provided value. So hopefully that speaks to his future. What did you guys think when John Moxley was about to drown this man?
Do something, anyone? Obama, Bush, Biden. WBD owns DC. Where's the Justice League?
I think that's why I think this doing that setups thing very well, actually,
Yeah.
because I was thinking the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm seeing now attempted murder, so someone has to come out, and I see the lights going out, and I say, okay, that's Sting, good, good. And I'm already seeing mixed reactions about the finish of the main event, and I actually like it because there's also something underneath in these Moxley violent matches. The guy's a bitch.
On
Yeah,
the
And what I
low.
mean, And what I mean by that, he talks all the big shit about how violent he is. Nobody can match him. Fighting spirit, weak mind, weak spirit. I have the better spirit, and all blah blah blah. But the moment shit hits the fan, the moment shit hits the wall, and he doesn't have the numbers anymore, and he is now in a very compromised position, the guy quits. He did
I
it
talked
twice with
about this with
Hangman.
Doc actually just after All In. So he very much tapped into this sort of dictator image during the early parts of his initial world title run when the Death Riders were forming. And then what was the big ending? It was him going out like Mussolini, alone, sputtering for breath and begging for mercy. This is his whole thing. He plays the dictator and then he goes out. It's like basically his character is the critique on the fascist who acts like they're super tough and strong and great and then falls over sputtering and whimpering like a little bitch the second there's any actual resistance.
Yeah, I think with Moxley, and he's vacillated. Obviously, there's been mixed results with the Death Riders. I think he's really gotten into a groove lately, and him basically being this bitch that y'all speak of, at the end of the day, is like the other end, is the bottom end of like how pissed he makes people, how much it felt like he is just this overlord of everything. It's like when you flip that on his head and you basically fight the guy and you basically on some never say die shit, it just feels like he'll fold like origami, essentially. And that's what a good heel will do. So
Yes.
I think he's really like, yeah. I'm glad I see a comment right here. I will never accept the early Death Riders revisionism. We will not. Like
No,
we
me
will not.
neither. Me
So
neither. From
like
October 2020, no, no, sorry, October 2024 is when they killed Danielson. That was good.
yeah,
From November to
it,
April, which
it was
was the swerve
after the
match.
Orange Cassidy match.
yeah, it was
Yes.
tough,
Yeah,
man.
the World End 4-way was dog shit. I mean, it
Yep,
was terrible. The Copeland match in Revolution, I don't know what to say about that.
very
And
bad.
Swerve at Dynasty, it was horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible as well.
it was just it was so bad. I was just like, I'm taking Swerve completely out of this. John Moxley, this is for you. This is your fault. Like,
Yes.
but like that match, that Swerve Moxley match, actually set up a bunch of stuff. So it's weird on that one.
I
Yeah, because
hope that
in
John
hindsight,
Moxley bought
yeah.
Willow a car.
One more time.
I hope that John Moxley bought Willow Nightingale a car. Like, he owes that woman big time.
She definitely helped. She definitely helped. Um,
Yes.
so let me see who else on here. As far as what do you make of this Young Bucks thing? Like where they look like they were about to jump back in and help Jack Perry now. They've gone broke again. They're poor. They have nowhere to go. Kenny Omega damn near was about to slap both of them and tell them to get in the ring and help. Uh, what do you guys make of this whole thing with the Bucks going forward? Like where are they headed?
After that match, fine, you've earned some elite melodrama. Don't spend
Oh,
it all in one place.
you don't like it. You don't like elite melodrama.
I mean, I was brought into wrestling by BTE and early AEW, so obviously I've got a soft spot in my heart for elite melodrama. But I think there's only so much break up, get back together that they can do. Especially like, man, you're nearly 50, son. Come on.
It's 2025. You're basically saying it's 2025.
So I think my only I would say drawback on whenever they want to do elite stuff is they never really do it. Like it's like they almost go to third base. They never like score with it. Like they can never just have like a 6 to 8 month run of them being good guys and just whooping ass. Like, and it's just like I think a lot of people wanted to see that and they've just never done it for whatever reason.
They're like
So
Mormons on Tinder, never go all the way.
right. It's like, okay, now they'll feud with each other. There'll be heels, different stuff like that. And it's like, it's all elite wrestling. Like, come on, man, give it to us. And we were close. We were on the verge. And then it just didn't
Listen,
pan
if
out that
Kenny
way.
and the Bucks want to get back in the tag division, I mean, as far as trios, like save that belt. The last time it really mattered was the best of 7
With them,
series.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, Yuzuru
I mean,
hurt.
at this point, I mean, Kenny, I mean, he's getting to the point where he can't quite do, you know, old Kenny Omega stuff all the time consistently. So I'll let him take a third of the bumps with Matt and Nick taking the rest.
Kenny Omega will have. I would say you only need to worry about Kenny Omega in the short term. I think Kenny Omega's next 6 months or so are it's all handled.
Also, like, fuck it, do the Hangman match.
Do it, man. I was expecting it at all out. Actually, I was surprised by the Fletcher twist, some so to speak. Um,
Welcome Rambones into the show. Rambones, what's going on, man? Talk
Hey,
to me.
hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say, first of all, I've been enjoying the stream, and I just wanted to shout you guys out and say that show over-delivered like I could not believe. As a nerd who loves tag team wrestling, this might have been perfectly booked for me, and so I appreciate that if nothing else.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
Thank you.
Which tag match did you enjoy it more?
I had a hard time deciding, quite frankly. I think those two matches are both hovering around 5 stars, which is just bananas.
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you.
I don't know. I might honestly say I lean towards the Bucks versus Jurassic Express for like being a nerd who loves the Elite and has followed them forever. Like that kind of plays into it. But on the other hand, the other match felt like a 90s All Japan tag match. And like, that's incredible.
When he did that one
honestly.
arm 21 plex, I was like, all right, bro, we somewhere else right here.
Bandito, I mean, if he's not a top 5 wrestler in the entire world, who is really?
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of the old
absolutely.
All Japan, while we're on the topic of world title stuff, I think it's time for now that Hobbs and the Ops are all going heel, it's time for Hobbs to either adopt the Burning Hammer or the Diamond Head.
He deserves it.
damn.
Get your
Damn.
kiboshi on, my man.
Yeah. Give me the burning hammer all day.
He's been great in his current role, but like, let's be honest, him and Ricky Starks was the best thing Ricky Starks ever did. So, and that wasn't Ricky Starks bringing him to that level. So, give him somebody who could talk and who can go like a decent amount in the ring, and just let him throw people around and fuck them up. It would be incredible.
Yeah.
Hobbs isn't even that bad on the mic. I mean,
Agree.
he hasn't gotten a lot of chances to do it, but he's been solid when he does. I'd like to see him get some more chances to try to cut some promos.
Yeah, he's kind of in a perfect position now because he doesn't have to be the best talker. He doesn't have to be the best wrestler like in the group. He can just like kind of like rub off these like two like forces, like these two legends essentially, to kind of just do his thing in between, and like he'll end up naturally standing out just because he's different than them. He's younger than both of these guys, and he's like less of a known figure than them. And when I say known, it's like with that, we know the ceiling of Samoa Joe. We know the ceiling of Katsuyori Shibata. We really don't know the ceiling of Hobbs. It can almost be like we saw him, what he did with the meat chants and all that stuff. We don't know what he can be as like a menacing heel or something like that. He would be a change kind of at the top, and even if he's not a champion or anything, but he can be somebody that's in the mix.
There's also, with Hobbs, when he entered the Ops, it was basically a rehab thing because when he was TNT champion, they put him doing QTV stuff,
Right.
if I recall correctly, and
Right.
that was terrible, of course. So he enters the Ops for Hook, by the way.
Who should be in Africa.
One of the greatest trades of all time.
Soft ground wrestling Uganda, is that it?
Just send him there. I don't care if he's at SGW or not. Just Send them on a mission. Help them build homes.
You
Feed
want him
people,
down in South Africa? Is that it?
clean water. We can find plenty of things for him to
He could
do.
dig a well, right?
Yes.
Oh my god. But so I think Samoa Joe, Rich, you have a one Hall of Fame ballot, right?
I have not received a Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame
Oh,
ballot
when you have it,
Travesty.
as
when
of
you have
2025.
when you have it, please consider voting for Samoa Joe because that guy did a 4-star match with Hook for the AEW World Championship. That's a miracle. You
I
know,
do remember that match. That was one
you
match where it made me feel like, oh shit, Hook's actually got to fight back, and it actually has to feel a certain way, and it normally doesn't feel that way with Hook. You're absolutely right
They didn't
on
really
that.
learn anything from that match, it feels like. Because the thing
no,
that I sort of picked up from that is at that point, we'd seen Hook do the sort of uh, young, handsome guy who wins all the time thing. And then the most interesting he'd been in like a year and a half was when he got flattened
Someone punched
and
him in the chest.
trying to see how he recovers from getting knocked on his ass was actually like the most interested I've ever been in Hook, and then they basically never did anything like that ever again.
A young guy who maybe is better suited to a babyface in peril role. I mean, that's hard to imagine. I've never.
I know, right? Who would think? What I was hoping they would do at some point in like late 2024 was have him lose in like 2 minutes to Okada or something, and like see where his character progresses from getting fucking.
bro, you want him to be Kaito, bro?
Bro, if you put him in the ring with Okada, do you know what kind of reaction Okada would have to somebody
Okada will kick
that
him in the
young?
face, just like Kaito Kiyomiya.
It
I
would be
want
Oh
to
my
worse.
god.
I
Oh.
know what reaction. I'm a sick bastard. I want to see it.
I'm not
Bro.
against it. I'm just saying that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, because if they did that, all the timeline will be full of the Kaito Kiyomiya comparisons. That would be crazy.
I'll live off that for a while. I'll say.
Well, yeah. So, like, overall thoughts on the show before we wrap it up here. I'll just go in a circle and I'll close it out. So, Daniel, if you wanna start, go to Juan, we'll go to Rambones, and then I'll wrap it up.
Okay. I like how I started. I think WrestleDream was the best pay-per-view AEW has done since All In. Um, I think this was a great night for tag team wrestling. I'm very hopeful for the future. This is also the ramifications of booking Brodido for the win because I seriously think we couldn't have this night of tag team wrestling if FTR of the Hurt Syndicate were still champs. I really think so. And that's not a knock to FTR because I think FTR since the heel turn they have been great. This is and this is also this is correctly a knock to the Hurt Syndicate because they are not that good. I think they're going to do trio stuff, so okay, that's fine. Um, for the show, I think Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Monet is going to be a very interesting feud going to Full Gear. We are very close to Continental Classic season. I will expect some kind of G1 climax reveals in the pay per view. That would be cool, something they have never done. We basically know the brackets and the names like one day before the first Dynamite after Full Gear. That sucks all the
Yeah.
time. I will. I mean, it's very easy, Just do a video package announcing the names. That's it.
You know what really gets them held up is these guys go so hard on the pay-per-views. They tend to want to see who's not injured from whatever pay-per-view they're coming off of. And the Continental Classic sometimes gets down that late to getting put together.
Worth noting, there is one more week of shows between Full Gear and World's End this year than there was last year.
Oh, okay.
So that means there'll probably be a little more breathing room.
Cool.
Just give me brackets so I can put together a bracketology thing. Come on.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, I think WrestleDream it's for me an 8.5 an 8.5 out of 10. This was a great night of wrestling. I was arriving at this pay per view with very few expectations because the build for the show was not good.
Right.
I I think the best build was actually Statlander versus Storm. I think the Darby Mox build was not good. The segment last Wednesday was not good. But the quality of the matches save the build. This was a great night of wrestling, and let's see what the full gear cycle brings.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, Juan. Same question to you.
Well, so this was a show where there was pretty low expectations coming in because of a lackluster build, then over-delivered with matches on the night, to which I say, close enough, welcome back 2022 AEW. Except there's some things that are the same as far as that comparison goes. Hangman's champion of the world, stuff like that. But this is a thing that I feel like people are kind of overlooking. There was 3 very good, very substantive women's matches on this show. Singles matches with their own feuds and their own stories coming in and going out of them. And we've got Blood and Guts coming up. That's pretty big. And when the match quality was high, it was very, very high. I mean, as we said, there's 2 tag matches that could arguably be 5 stars or more on this show. It was really, really great quality stuff. There's a few good directions coming out of the show. Nothing great, but they do have some stuff on the horizon. I think if they get some proper storylines going for their world champions, some good direction for the promotion as a whole, and condemn the Hurt Syndicate to the ash heap of history, they could be in a really good position going into C2 season. Yeah, so that's the main thing. I think coming out of this, there is some potential for really good stuff going forward. It just remains to be seen if that potential will ever actually be reached, which, kind of the story of AEW.
Absolutely, man. Rambones.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for having me on, and I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I really appreciate. I'm a big nerd and fan of tag team wrestling. I appreciate this show for highlighting it in a way that it hasn't been highlighted in North America in a very long time. And overall, I just want to say I feel the show over delivered. I appreciate everything that you guys do over at Social Suplex and the community you've created. And thank you very much for giving me a space to talk.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you. Always being a longtime supporter of the shows, keeping it strong style, One Nation Radio, Tonal Talk, Tristan Sarah. Pretty much, I hear Rambo's listens to everything. So, had the pleasure to meet you this summer. So,
That's 100% accurate. I do listen
we'll
to
do
all
it again.
Thank you.
Oh, the Tunnel Talk ladies are going to have some thoughts on that main event.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. But yeah, man. So like, I'll say, what I thought of this show. I thought this show came at a interesting time. I feel like the TVs have been kind of plastic of late, and it just feels like they're obviously missing. There's a pay per view, no Kenny Omega, no Will Ospreay, no Swerve Strickland, among big losses, and this group pulls together again because the last pay per view was like that, and it just adds to the undefeated nature of most AEW pay-per-views. This is a competitive, prideful roster that on game day, you can trust a number of these people. You can put Kyle Fletcher out there with the TNT title and say, hey, man, do your thing in the middle of the show. You got 25 minutes. He's going to show you. You can always trust Mercedes Moné to come through. Do you want to bet against Konosuke Takeshita and Bandito in the same match? I don't. Hangman Page, just one of the more dependable guys in wrestling. So it almost doesn't matter who's in the jerseys. Is on game day, the team is coming to play. Do you ever doubt a Young Bucks match? John Moxley and Darby Allin, like a fitting match to kind of close this door. And there's plenty of kind of story fallout. What's going to happen to John Moxley from there? Death Rider's going to turn on him. Are they going to whoop his ass?
Claudio Castagnoli is going to do things that violate the Geneva Convention.
For sure. Like, and you got the ops turned on Heyman. Heyman's got a new problem to deal with. The Don Callis family is only getting bigger. So, I think, going into Full Gear, which has got its own, I would say, lore as an AEW event at this point. November, they're in Newark, New Jersey, I think, is going to be another statement, another chance for this group to kind of show what they're made of. And I think as long as you got most of these people, you can afford not to have 3 or 4 of them at a time. So but that's going to wrap up my thoughts on it. I want to thank everybody for joining us live. It's almost 2 a.m. on the East Coast, so we're up here super late. I'm going to yank this, throw it on the podcast feed. People didn't hear it. And more of this coming through. Dex, what's up, man? Dex with the late comment. Was there in St. Louis. I'm late as fuck. Just left the parking garage here in St. Louis. I got to watch the replay of this, but a hell of a show. Absolutely, Dex. Appreciate the 5 as well. And I was just, thanking the audience for joining us. This is a new thing, kind of trying to get a little bit more engagement on the Social Suplex YouTube channel. Let's build this thing up, make this thing strong. I see a lot of other people with YouTube channels, and just wondering how it would go if, we tried to do something like that. We already built a, kind of a thriving Discord community, and I thought this would be a great way to talk to you guys and give you guys a chance, that normally listen to us on One Nation Radio or something like that. Come talk to us, throw us live shows, and, see what's going on. Because, like, look at it like this. Like, if you ever wanted to be on One Nation Radio and you can't do it that week or something like that, you can show up after pay-per-view, come up here, sound good, have good chemistry, talk to the people, folks like you. Maybe we'll book some, work it out in the future and all that. But thank you guys for joining us. If you guys are catching this before you get out of here, just slap that like button for us and share it. And appreciate the super chats and donations as well. Always humbled for your support. You can, support anybody else, and you choose to support us. And we're gonna roll. Hope you guys have a great night. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.